Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about factoring, and we're going to, I guess we're just going to start from the beginning. Alright, so the first thing you want to do whenever you factor is GCF. Okay, hopefully most of you guys have gotten the whole concept of GCF. Basically, GCF is something that all terms have in common. So for instance, if you had 5x squared, you had 20x, and you had like a 10. In this case, they all have a 5 in common. Alright, they all can be divided by 5. So you would do that. What some of you are doing, and you need to be careful, is once you take the 5 out, it's not gone. It's just part of the factoring process. So don't forget about it. So you take the 5 and divide it into everything, and you would be here. So this would be the answer if you could follow it by GCF. And then the last thing you want to do is whenever you have a trinomial, you're going to, a trinomial always, if it can be broken down any more other than GCF, has to break up into what looks like a FOIL problem. So again, if you want to get x squared, you're going to put x and x here. You look for things that multiply to give you the multiply to give you the last term, and add to give you the middle term. If you think about all of the factors of 2, there's only 2 and 1. Okay, no matter what we do, we can't get 4. So in this particular case, you would not be able to factor doing it that way, and your final answer would be right here. Okay, so let's do a couple where you actually can factor. Alright, so let's try this one. X squared plus 5x plus 6. That's a good starter. I took GCF out, so there is no GCF in this. So again, if a trinomial can be further factored, it always looks like a FOIL problem. Okay, and then you look at the first term. That's what tells you what goes in the first position here. The only way to get x squared is x and x. Then you're looking again things that multiply to give you 6 and add to give you 5. Okay, so two things that give you 6. Okay, so there's 1 and 6. If I add that together, I don't get 5. And 2 and 3, if I add that together, I get 5. So those are my two answers. And you can put 2 and 3 in either place. It doesn't matter. Again, if you were to FOIL this out, all that would do is swap the middle terms. So if you ever want to check it, all you'd have to do is FOIL this. So let's just do it for fun. Okay, so I would do x squared plus 3x. Let me change colors on us. Then you're going to do 2x. Alright, and then 2 times 3, which is 6. And all the time your middle terms can be combined together, and sure enough, if I do that, I'm going to get my problem back again. So you can always check your work by doing that. Now, if you had taken GCF out, you would then multiply by the GCF to get to your all the way at the beginning. Again, this was a check. Technically your answer is right here, the boxed area here. All right, so let's try another one. Okay, let's try. Let's see. X squared minus 9x plus 18. Okay, so again, you're going to split it up. Look like a FOIL problem. Be x and x. Okay, you're looking for things that multiply to give you 18. Well, let's see. There's 3 and 6. There's 2 and 9. There's 1 and 18. All right, which one of this set adds to be 9? Okay, this one adds to be, when I add them, gives us 9, so I'm not going to check the rest of them. This is 11 and 19, but I'm only doing, I need it to equal 9. Now, because I need a negative 9, both of those signs would have to be negatives. And again, remember that the reason why is because a negative times a negative is still going to give you a positive, but a negative plus a negative is going to give you more negatives. Okay, so that would be the answer to this one. If you graphed it, like for instance, you just pushed it in the calculator and looked at the graph, the graph would pop out, and I don't know exactly what it looks like, but what would happen is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The graph would hit at 3 and would hit at 6. So, and then the graph looks, I missed it, but you get the idea. It goes around and comes around like that. Now it could be a little deeper or whatever, but those are the two places it hits the x-axis. So really, if you're horrible at factoring, you could graph it first. So if this were, if this were 3 and this were 6, you got to be able to go back the other direction. So if x equals 3 and x equals 6, then x minus 3 must be a factor, and x minus 6 must be a factor. So you can go backwards. So you could actually use graphing for factoring if you're really that bad at it. Alright, so let's try some other ones, make them a little bit trickier. Let's see. Alright, so let's say we take x squared minus 4x minus 32. Okay? First of all, we check to see if there's a GCF. There isn't. So I'm going to put the x and x in here. Then I'm going to now I'm looking for things that give me negative 32. So be careful with negative 32. One of the signs has to be a positive. One has to be a negative. Whoops. So you want to kind of rattle off whole bunch of, one positive, one negative. You might do the opposite just so you have a record. And then you would, what else gives me 32? 16 and 2. Negative 16 and 2, or positive 16 and negative 2, and so on. You would just make a list. Alright, so let's check it out. Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. That's not it. 4 plus negative 8 is negative 4. Ding, 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 ding. That's the one we want to use. And again, you're putting the numbers in last, so the order doesn't matter. You just have to make sure you get the sign right. And so I'm going to put in a negative 8 just for fun, and I'm going to put a plus 4 over here. Okay, so, and you just keep doing that. And so I think the hardest part about it is if you don't know your math facts, it really does become very difficult to do. Alright, so that's this type of factoring, and I'm going to do a couple other ones, a little difficult one on the next section, but this is the simpler of the bunch. So I just went over GCF. Okay, that's what you should always check for. And then I did all my factoring where we get x and x in there. And again, these vary depending on what the signs are. Okay, again, you have to know your positive and negative numbers really well, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. If you don't, it really does make it really difficult. So I'm going to make another video again with different kinds of factoring. So, be right back.